All right, Shalom. Before I get started, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahawah, bahasham, Yahawahshi, bahasham, Rawchaa Qadash. This is the brother Bakala Walam, here with another hopeful edifying lesson to the elect body Yahawah, bahasham, Yahawahshi. I have a couple videos that I'm going to put together. There's a situation with these two parties, the two horns that's talked about in Revelations, right? The two forms of government of Babylon the Great, which is America, the Democratic and Republican Party. They said it's Jim Crow 2.0, Republicans assault on black voters, right? I guess the majority of 2/3 of these Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, so to speak, I guess they with this pro-democratic party, not knowing that neither side is for your turn. Neither side cares for you. Both of them are Edomites, dominant, and these Republicans or Democrats. I made a video a couple weeks ago, basically showing you that. Let me see if I can get it. That these Republicans and Democrats, they can just switch sides that they win. This video here at the top says Esau party hoppers. It's a big party, and you are not invited, or you're not a part of something like that. So, like this guy Nick Fuentes, he's basically saying he's a Republican, but now he's talking about Democrat, maybe the answer. And that's what basically these Edomites can do. If they see something not going their way for whatever party they with, Republican or Democrat, they can just switch parties. So now, okay, I'm a Republican, I could just switch to a Democrat or vice versa. And that is more or less no big deal. But these parties are not in your favor, man. The Lord said, "Do not trust in oppression," and also it says, "Do not sit any of the heathen nations as king over you." Right. So I'm gonna just play this video on a couple more, and we're gonna get to these scriptures because the Lord is not dealing with these governments of the nations, man. So here it is. The ink has barely dried on last week's Supreme Court decision. And also this, I want to just say, United States Code, Title 17, subsection 107, Fair Use Act. This is for education, criticism purposes. This is for education and criticism purposes, right? It's not for monetary gain. Gutting the Voting Rights Act, and Republicans are already racing to disenfranchise black voters. In Louisiana, the state's Republican governor, Jeff Landry, declared a state of emergency, suspended a congressional primary election on Saturday, and signed a law eliminating a local position in New Orleans. Calvin Duncan, a newly elected black official who won with 68% of the vote, had to get a federal court order on Sunday so he could take office today on Monday. In Alabama, Republican Governor Kay Ivey called a special session of the legislature to meet today to redraw the state's map with the goal of eliminating districts represented by two black members of Congress, Terry Sewell of Birmingham and Shamari Figures of Mobile. In Tennessee, Republican Governor Bill Lee has called a special session to meet tomorrow on Tuesday to redraw the state's map to eliminate a majority-minority district in Memphis, where State Representative Justin Pearson of the Tennessee Three is running for Congress. In Florida, 1 hour after last week's Supreme Court decision, Republican Governor Ron DeSantis got the state house to approve a new map, even though an aide to DeSantis admitted that the goal was to blow up a majority black district in South Florida. Louisiana, Alabama, Tennessee, Florida, 4 states in 1 week. And don't get me started on what they're doing here in Texas. They're not trying to hide it anymore. This is the most blatant white power grab since the January 6th insurrection. This is not a drill. This is Tulsa without the torches. We haven't seen this type of coordinated attack on black elected officials since the Jim Crow era, when the number of black congressmen dropped from 8 to 0. So there's two things you can do. If you live in a blue state with a Democratic legislature, call your governor today and tell them to redraw their congressional maps to fight back. And if you live in a red state, rally your local community to vote out every single Republican in every state legislature. That's where the decisions are made. There's a lot more you can do, but those are two steps to get started. We have the power to fight back. Yeah, man. Like, man, this is funny, man. Jake ain't gonna get it, man. Esau, he not gonna let you have any type of control or sway or equality in his world, man, in his country, in his land. This is Esau's world, man. He runs this world, not just only America. He runs the world. He's not trying to put you Negroes nowhere in any type of form of very having any type of sway or power, man. That's what this is all about. And they could just make laws at a whim to take away your to put them at advantage and put you at a disadvantage. And that's basically what this is. They can work the field. Black people. That's basically what this is. They trying to put you at a more of a disadvantage. So I'm gonna play this video here too. How do I? Yeah, of course it's gonna go to commercial. Feelings of guilt and shame. We are following that. So yeah, Esau, he don't want you to be any type of equality or power over him, man. And he can make laws at a whim, create and change terms or terminologies at a whim, because he got the power to do so. They say they drawing up these new congressional maps to more or less, he said, blow up the black congressional, something like that, man. Look at the terms that they use, blow up, because that's exactly what they're trying to do, bomb the shit out your ass. They're using these terms or terminologies, and the ones that's in the crowd or in the party, they know what these terms mean when they say that. They more or less using those terms of mockery. Like the guy says they want to blow up the blacks, something like that. Why do you use that word blow up? But I'm gonna play this video. Like I said, like they can just make laws up to put you at a disadvantage. And basically that's what it is, to try to lessen the power of this so-called Democratic Party, which you don't have any say in it anyway. Esau, that's just another tool of the devil to deceive you. And I guess but at the same time, you getting too much even within this. Even though Esau controls this Democratic Party, nonetheless, he's seeing that you got too much sway. You got too much, a lot of these black people, so quote unquote black people, they're voicing their opinion, especially against Donald Trump and a lot of these like they say racist Edomites on the Republican side. They're having too much voice over there. So Esau want to put an end to that, man. It's all on TV news. You see a lot of these politicians voicing how racist or this, that, and the third when it comes to these Edomites. They ain't want you to do all that, man. They don't want you to do that. That's what it's all about. They want to take your power away from you. Now you won't have any representation in Congress at all, right?
Breaking news alert, Governor Bill Lee signs the new state congressional map into law. The new map splitting Memphis into 3 districts and favoring Republicans. Welcome to News 2 at 4. I'm Haley Wilgus. This move comes after days of protest, heated debate, and accusations of racial gerrymandering. Take a listen. Protesters calling lawmakers cowards just minutes after the Tennessee House approved the new congressional map. News 2's Tori Gessner has been following this special legislative session since the beginning. She joins us live from the state capitol now. Tori. Well, Haley, in the time Governor Bill Lee has signed this map into law, demonstrators and Democrats continue to make their voices heard. They gathered on the steps of the Capitol after that map passed.
Because when we go to Memphis, what we see is our culture. What we see is our people. What we see is us being able to exist represented by us. Looking like us, singing like us, rapping like us. And they know what happens when they allow us to be us.
It's funny as hell, man. So they know what'll happen if they allow us to be us. You know, it's fuck people crazy, man. You know, that's what it is. You said the right thing. If they allow us to be us, right? Because they got power over you. You know, Esau has power over you, and you're still in captivity. If you don't want to recognize it or not, you don't believe it or not, you're still in captivity. You know, that's why she said they know what'll happen if they allow us to be us. And that's the problem, you know, especially they got a lot of these loudmouth black women in some Democratic Party. They up there yapping their mouth, you know what I'm saying, being loud and obnoxious, right? And these damn fucking Edomites, they don't want to see that shit, man. You know, they on TV voicing their opinion about how racist the Republicans are, this, that, and the goddamn third. These fucking Edomites don't want to see that. That's why they trying to take the so-called little bit of so-called power that you think you have. They trying to take that away from you. That's why I guess they drawing up these new congressional maps to diminish your power, so to speak, which you have none real in reality. But whatever this illusion of power that you have now, you taking it too far. And these Edomites don't want to see you doing what you're doing, man. They don't want to see that shit. Even though you're a lot of time, you know, yeah, right. Whatever you be saying is basically some true points. Esau don't want to see that shit, man, because the truth is an enemy to these devils. No, because they're the devil. So speaking the truth is you become an enemy. And you, even though you behind this Democratic Party, which at the same time is really ain't for your turn, because it pushes wickedness. You know, that Democratic Party, just like the Republicans, all of it's the same party. Which you're gonna even hear. I'm gonna play a video on what's his name on. I can't even think of his name. Jesse Ventura. Even he gonna say it. You know, which we already know. Which we brought out, been saying, is two wings of the same bird. So they ain't for your turn, man.
Now, we've seen some emotional moments like that one and protests and heated exchanges, but nothing like today. Everything came to a head. The loudest part of the day didn't come through a microphone. It came through protest and passion. Senate Democrats and House Democrats. House Republicans and Democrats had 47 minutes each to debate the new congressional map that splits Memphis into 3 districts to flip it red. Democrats calling the move racist.
Half of the black population in the state of Tennessee lives in Memphis and Shelby County. Nearly half. How can we sit here and say that this is not about race?
But Republicans say the map was based on population and politics, not race. They argue flipping the state's last Democratic district red is only fair because Tennessee is a majority conservative state, arguing Democrats in other states have done the same thing to help their party.
Trump won 46% of the vote. It's congressional delegation. 9 Democrats, 3 Republicans. They maximized their partisan advantage.
The map is changing just months away from a major election, with campaigns well underway. While lawmakers passed a bill Republicans say will help make the transition smoother, Democrats still worry the change will cost the state millions and confuse voters and election officials. County elections administrators, the state estimates will cost them around $3 million to make the adjustments and changes for the maps. State lawmakers did pass a bill to approve that funding. Back to you, Haley.
So yeah, basically that's the reason why they try to more or less diminish whatever whatever power that you think you got. That's the reason why they trying to diminish. Because you especially these black women getting on TV. Right now, especially when it came to that your current commander in chief, I seen a lot of that. They voicing their, even though it's facts, they don't. That's more or less the point. It's true, but they don't want you. The truth is the enemy to Esau, man. So telling the truth is, he don't allow you telling the truth, man. And this is what I was talking about Jesse Ventura, which we've been said, and that's the issue. You going, like I said, you see a lot of that. These black women from the Republican Party voicing their opinions like this party is really for them, and they opposing Donald Trump for that matter. These Edomites, Messiah. They for this guy, even though how corrupt and a criminal he is. And it shows, and it's got the evidence to prove it. But nonetheless, he's the epitome of white supremacy. And a lot of these Edomites, they just keeping quiet. They are more or less keeping silent about this guy, and more or less what they said, keeping silent. You and just like you quietly. I can't think of the proper terminology, but you're going about it. You're still in agreement with it, by not saying anything about it. There's a term for it, I just can't think of it. But here's what Jesse Ventura says about these two different parties.
Politics with the Democrats and Republicans is identical to pro wrestling. In front of the camera, they hate each other. Behind the scenes, they're working together. This is all a big scam, in my opinion. Democrats are going to be the baby faces, and the Republicans are going to be the heels, like in the world of pro wrestling. But they're all together on a two-party dictatorship. Politics with the Democrats and Republicans is identical to pro wrestling. In front of the camera, they hate each other. Behind the scenes, they're working together. This is all a big scam, in my opinion. Democrats are going to be the baby faces, and the Republicans are going to be the heels, like in the world of pro wrestling. But they're all together on a two-party dictatorship.
Right. So yes, it's two wings of the same bird, man. They are all of the same. They behind, in front of your face there, and that's why a lot of you Negroes don't understand, man. Like they are with each other, man. They are still they. That's why you see the same agenda for the most part that's being pushed by the Democrats. It's also being pushed by the Republicans. They just go about it in a different way, or they'll rearrange the order. Just like this new world order, this police state, these wars is still going about because more or less the elites of Edom is basically pulling the strings, right? That's what they're doing, and these presidents are selected, not elected.
I still maintain that this is Trump Crow at work is because I do believe that this is ultimately a war on white people. And when you put blacks, when you put us at the forefront, when you say, well, it's just ain't gonna be no more black motherfuckers in Congress anymore. Well, black people, y'all ain't gonna be able to vote for Democrats no more at the district level. You don't get the resistance from the white people that don't think that black people should have citizenship in this country. And not getting resistance from this one party rule is going to be detrimental to white people in a way that they have not experienced before. Since the 60s, the majority white people have been voting Republican. Since 64. Now, we know from statistics that the economy does better under Democratic presidents. We know that because of Democratic presidents in Congress, you've had massive access to healthcare. So all of these economic advancements, all these advancements in terms of healthcare security, in terms of infrastructure, in terms of civil rights for non-Black people, all of those have come without a majority white support. So that means that a majority white people have been able to vote their guns and butter, don't tread on me, They have been able to vote for their wet dream of racism and bigotry and disenfranchisement of other people without the fucking consequences. So what?
So they can keep you can keep on stating facts, whatever, or stating what's reality when it comes to this party or what was happening in this party. Nonetheless, they were saying the country was ran better under a Democratic president. Even if that's the fact, it doesn't matter, man. Just like the Jesse Ventura, they're both working with each other behind the scenes, man. And a lot of blacks, Latinos, Native Americans, what they call you, colors or the colors or whatever, the minorities or whatever they classify you, these bywords. You don't understand it, man. Like Esau pulls both strings, and if they want the Democratic president to seem like he's a better choice for the people at that time, is because they choose to. They could have very, very much done so for the Republican president, but they chose to do it because I think that guy, was it Lyndon B. Johnson, which they said there's no proof on it, but I believe it's true. Talking about he'll have black people voting Democrat for the next 200 years, and you see that playing out. So whatever's being done is controlled opposition is being controlled any way it goes. And both are just like I showed that video of Jesse Ventura. These two parties, they work together behind the scenes, man. I just want this guy gerrymandering. I just want to look at what it is, because more or less it's an Edomite. So a gerrymandering is defined in the text of representative electoral system. Defined in the text of representative electoral systems is the political manipulation of electoral district boundaries to advantage a party, group, or social economic class within the constituency. So basically, it's manipulation to gain advantage, manipulating the boundaries. So I guess that's why they were talking about those maps. They were redrawing the maps so they could put the so-called Democratic voters at a disadvantage, so to speak. That's what they call this gerrymandering. And who they named it after? This guy here, Elbridge Gerry, right? This is Elbridge Gerry was a founding father, the fifth vice president of the United States of Massachusetts. Of United States and the Massachusetts governor, who supported a partisan redistricting plan in 1812 led to the coining of the term gerrymandering. The term combined his name with salamander to describe a district shaped like a dragon. How ironic, you know what I'm saying? Because they are the fucking red dragon. They are that serpent. This red dragon, right? And I guess this is the image right here he drew. It looked like, right? Yeah, it looked like a fucking dragon. That's what these Edomites are. They're the red dragon. That serpent, that old serpent. Yeah, that's them. They are the children. They are the serpent seed. These Edomites are how ironic that he drew. They say he drew this that resembled a dragon, right? So they named it after him. So I'm gonna see legacy. Although Jerry himself reportedly found the map disagreeable, the name stuck, defining the practice of manipulating electoral boundaries for political advantage. So yeah, cheating. These devils, they don't do things fairly. They do things for their own advantage. So I guess that's the story of this word gerrymandering. This guy, Eldred Jerry, was his founding father, right, of Esau, the government. But this is what the Lord said, man. The Lord said, this is on Deuteronomy 17, Deuteronomy chapter 17, verse 14. It says, when thou come into the land which the Lord Yahawah thy power giveth thee, and shall possess it, and shall dwell therein, and shall say, I will set a king over me, like as all the nations that are about me. Thou shalt in any wise set him king over thee, whom the Lord Yahawah thy power shall choose from among thy brethren. Shalt thou set kings? Shalt thou set king over thee? Thou mayest not set a stranger over thee, which is not of thy brother. Right. So these damn politicians, man, these heathen politicians, you don't supposed to vote for them, man. Put them over you, because even like you see now, what they doing? They passing laws to take away your alleged illusion of voting rights, which that's what's going on too. They talking about taking back the voting rights and a whole bunch of shit, man. You know what I'm saying? So basically, trying to bring back these Jim Crow laws to put you as close as they can to slavery. You know, to hardcore slavery at that. So they trying to reinforce these Jim Crow laws to put you back close as they can to this hardcore slavery that they had our people in. So that lets you know they don't care for you, man, because you shouldn't have a congressional black caucus. Like, what is that? You know, if this is America and America is for American people, this should be a country for all people, that we are all Americans, like, right? You're supposed to be considered all Americans, and we are all voting for our own benefit, everybody's benefit. It's not for black benefit or the white benefit or the Latino benefit, the Spanish benefit, or the Arab benefit, or the Chinese benefit. Which that's what they trying to. That's what this place is. It's divided. If they get a whatever race that's in power, they act like it's that person is for their own race in this political race or whatever, right? Which is supposed to be allegedly a place that everybody's supposed to be treated equal. You know, in this in America, everybody's supposed to be treated equal. Everybody's American. There's not. There shouldn't be a place where I gotta get a black or black congressional caucus, or Asian congressional caucus, or Spanish congressional caucus, and all that crazy shit. That's more or less division, man. But they trying to act like this place is not segregate. I mean, racism doesn't exist, when even your government reflects that. Your government reflects racism, right? So there's supposed to be a country based upon Americans, good for Americans, and everybody's voting for the benefits of the American people collectively, right? But it's not like that. And that's why the Lord said, don't vote for these heathens, don't put them over you. But our people, what? They trust in oppression, man. They trust in oppression. And that's what the problem is, right? Instead of trusting in Yahawah, bahasham, Yahawahshi, right? This is Isaiah 31. It says, woe to the rebellious children, saith the Lord Yahawah, that take counsel, but not of me, and that cover with a covering, but not of my spirit, that they may add sin to sin. that walk to go down to Egypt, and have not asked at my mouth to strengthen themselves in the strength of Pharaoh, and to trust in the shadow of Egypt. Therefore shall the strength of Pharaoh be your shame, and the trust in the shadow of Egypt your confusion. Right. So that's what the Lord's going to put you or have you in confusion, because you trusting in oppression. The modern day Egypt, the modern day Egypt is America, right? Verse 7, it says, "For the Egyptians shall help in vain, and to no purpose. Therefore have I cried concerning this, their strength is to sit still." Right. It's like, yeah, the modern day Egyptians are these Babylonians, or in America, man. They the modern day Egyptians, man. Right? And Egypt is the modern day, and America is the modern day Egypt. So these Egyptians are going to help in vain. They like, I've seen a clip of this guy. He was he was a informant, right? Infiltrating black groups like the civil rights movements and Black Panther parties, for example, and these different black leaders at the time. He was used to infiltrate these so-called black groups, and he was talking about these white liberals. They was basically used to do the same thing. They was used to just to get intel on black and black people. They was acting like they was pro or for your turn, and it was all a facade, basically, man. It was all deception, because that's what these Edomites are, man. They are the devil, uh, the masters of manipulation, the masters of deception. So yeah, that's what these devils do. All they do is they deceive, man. That's what they are. That's what devil means, deceiver, false accuser, right? And I'm gonna read this out of the Amplify, Isaiah 30:7. It says, "For Egypt's help is worthless and good for nothing. Therefore I have called her Rahab, who have been exterminated." Right. So like the elder said, was I forgot what this precept. Rahab is basically a land, meaning Egypt, right? I think it was in Psalms, and that's a um precept to that in this amplified version, right? So yeah, it's they are uh to be exterminated. These modern day Egyptians, which is the Edomites. Where was that precept? Yeah, I forgot where it was. 12. This is the book of Isaiah 30:12 says, "Wherefore, thus saith the Holy One of Israel, because ye despise this word, and trust in oppression and perverseness, and stay thereon. Therefore, this iniquity shall be to you as a breach ready to fall, swelling out in a high wall, whose breaking cometh suddenly at an instant." Right? So yeah, because you trust in oppression. What, you think you can be a Democrat or whatever? Some of these 2/3 thinking they could be a Republican, and they trust in oppression. But just like Jesse Ventura, even he said it, that it's all a big. It's just like WWE. What, right? It's an act, man. They act like they hate each other's guts on stage. They act like they hate each other's guts on stage, but behind the scenes, they are working together. Right? It's all an act, man. So yeah, it's an act, man. They work. You think these two parties are not with each other, but they are, man. From the apostles, the elders on down, they've been telling you this information. Even you hear it from Jesse Ventura, which he was a governor of California, and worked in pro wrestling. So he knows, and Donald Trump too. He was in WWE. He had appearance in WWE before, right? So it's all a big show, man. But you trust in these devils, but they are not they don't have your best interests at favor, right? The Lord said, "Don't put none of the heathen over you, because they don't care. They are not for your favor, man." Like I said, a lot of these loud black women with their loud mouth, what I'm saying, in this Republican Party, even though what they're saying is true, but like I said, the truth is the enemy to these devils, right? They don't want to hear that, man. Especially you think you think you can say something about me, and you under my basically branch of government. You talking crap about these Edomites, but they supposed to be on the Republican side. They don't like that, man. They ain't falling. They ain't going for that. That's why they trying to diminish this illusion of power that you have already. They're trying to diminish it, which in reality you don't have any power. It was all an illusion. But I'm gonna go and end it off that. I hope it's edifying to the elect. I'm gonna say call Yahawah, bahasham, Yahawah, bahasham, Rawchaa Qadash. Shalom to the next time, Yahawah, Ratazah, which means Lord willing, and why Abba Babal.